Good afternoon. This is Anna Pacheco with SantaFe101.com. My guest today is Harry Ridgway of Hacienda Realty. And this afternoon, he's going to tell us all about real estate in an area of Hidalgo County called Rodeo. Harry, do I have your permission to record this interview?
Certainly, Anna.
Oh, good. So yeah, tell me a little, before I hit the record button, you were saying that you're from Las Cruces and you've lived in Hidalgo County now for 15 years. Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure, yeah. I moved here from Las Cruces. I lived in Las Cruces for a few years. Before that, I was a research scientist in Southern California for most of my career there. And so I became interested in real estate actually about 10 years ago in rural areas like parts of New Mexico. And I had a license about 10 years ago, and I let it expire after the big meltdown that we had. So I decided, however, about a year ago to renew it and get back into the real estate market because I enjoy helping people.
And so how does a scientist, how did you get, what was interesting about real estate or rural real estate that made you want to become a realtor?
Yeah, it's not so much that as it's a way I can help people in a rural community like Rodeo to fulfill their dreams of where they want to live and how they would like to live and where, you know, in a beautiful part of the world. So it was really more about that rather than a specific interest in like the technical aspects of real estate, although I find that interesting too, the legal and technical aspects.
So Hidalgo County that's like the furthest most, that's like the last county of southern New Mexico, correct? That's it. And then right after that, we're going right into Arizona.
That is correct. We are 50 miles north of the Mexican border, and we are about 1 mile from Arizona to the west.
And so what would be the border town in Mexico that you're 50 miles from?
Yeah, the border town on the U.S. side is Douglas, Arizona, and it is, oh gosh, all of a sudden the name escapes me, but the border town right across the border from Douglas, Agua Prieta, excuse me.
Okay, good. And so I'm familiar with Lordsburg because when my son used to go to the University of Arizona, I would have to drive through there to get to Arizona. But then when I found out that you specialize in real estate and Rodeo, quite frankly, I had never heard of that community. So tell me a little bit about Rodeo so our viewers might want to take a look at real estate there.
Yeah, I hope they do because it's a really kind of unique place. It's first of all, you kind of have to go out of your way to get here. The big attractions here are international birding, bird watching, for example, and wide open spaces, lots of wildlife, beautiful mountain ranges on both sides of the valley that we live in. I would say, a lot of outdoor activities and kind of an independent lifestyle out here. We don't have a lot of services that are local. The nearest traffic signal, for example, is at least 50 miles from us. The rodeo town itself has only about 50 people that live in town. And in the surrounding area, there are probably, several hundred folks in the surrounding area.
So in the little town of Rodeo, does it have a post office? Is there a grocery store and the kind of typical things?
We have our own post office. We have a local town cafe, and we also have some really interesting places that came about, I don't know, in the last 10 years. One is the Chiricahua Desert Museum, and we also have a couple of art galleries in town. So it's a really neat place for people to relax and visit and to make it their home. We have a lot of peace and quiet to offer.
And when you say international birding, does that mean that people from around the world come there to do birding?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we get people from all around the world.
And what attracts them? What type of birds are there? Or how does the word get out? I mean, I had never heard of Rodeo.
Yeah, well, the word gets out like everything today over the internet. And the American Birding Association, designates various birding hotspots. We're on that list. Our sister community of Portal, Arizona, which is about 5 or 6 miles from us, we both of these communities, Portal and Rodeo, work together to promote bird watching in the area. And we get visitors from all around the world, literally. Pretty much all year round, but the busy seasons are spring, fall, and parts of the summer.
And what types of birds go to that area that attracts this international following?
Yeah, the one sort of kingpin species is the elegant trogon, which is unique to the area in the U.S. Southwest. And so that brings a lot of birders in here because it's one of the few places, perhaps the only place in the lower 48 where they can see this particular bird species. So if they want to put that on their list, they have to come here. And there are many others. Lately, we've had some sightings of what is known as the ruddy ground dove, which is typically seen more down in Mexico. But this year, we've had a number of reports, literally right in our backyard of the ruddy ground dove, for example.
And are you a birder also? Are you interested in it?
Very amateur birder. Now, all in all, in the Southwest Strip here from Arizona through New Mexico, we have it's estimated about 50% of the bird species in North America can be found here.
Just in your area?
Yes.
Okay, so all these people that come to rodeo to do their birding, what type of accommodations? If it's such a small town, are there motels or hotels or Airbnbs, or where do people stay, or do they just come for the day and then go elsewhere for their nightly accommodations?
Yeah, we have local sort of mom and pop motels and places to stay, a number of Airbnb places. So there's usually plenty of accommodations. If there aren't, the overflow would be camping in the mountains, for example, or you could stay in Douglas, Arizona, which is 50 miles to the south. And there's, for example, the Gadsden Hotel there, which has undergone a remarkable renovation in recent years.
Now, I know Lordsburg, which is also part of your county there, the I-40 goes right through there. So there's a lot of hotels, motels and things, for the people that go on the interstate. How far is Douglas, excuse me, not Douglas, how far is Rodeo to Lordsburg versus Douglas, Arizona?
Yeah, we're pretty much in between. It's about 50 miles to either place.
So so they'd have a choice. They could stay in Douglas, Arizona, but they could also stay in Lordsburg.
That's right.
Okay, and would Lordsburg be more? Would it be more convenient in the sense that the interstate is right there, or in Douglas, is it hard to get to the interstate, or for people that are thinking about that?
I would say either one is fine. The advantage of Douglas, I would say, is that we have basically a 2-lane blacktop, old Highway 80, that used to be known as the Broadway of America, that comes right through Rodeo. It's just a 2-lane blacktop, but the 50-mile drive to Douglas is through such beautiful, wide open space country. I mean, there's just no development, and it's just absolutely stunning country to see.
And so if people lived in your area, where would they go for, I don't want to sound mundane, but like their basic, like where would they do their major shopping for, not just groceries, but, clothing or, something like a bigger city? Where would they go for that?
Yeah, well, if you have the closest biggest city would be Tucson, Arizona, or perhaps Silver City in New Mexico. Silver City is about 100 miles north, and Tucson's about 175 miles from where we are.
Well, then Tucson really would be the bigger city because there's not much in Silver City.
Yeah, well, there's, clothing, stuff like that, you can get there, no problem. We have in Rodeo, we also have a few miles down the road near the Chiricahua Desert Museum, we have a brand new restaurant, the Sky Island Grill and Grocery. And so it provides some, basic groceries and so forth. And in the town of Rodeo, there's the Rodeo Grocery and Cafe. So we have a couple of eating establishments very close to Rodeo. or in Rodeo. And also in Portal, we have the Portal Peak Lodge and the cafe there as well.
Well, it kind of sounds like a kickback to like the 1950s or something. It sounds like really kind of way out there.
It is. It is indeed. And I think that's part of the attraction. We are off the beaten path. And a lot of the people we see coming through to look at real estate and so forth, you know, simply want a simpler lifestyle, a lifestyle that's less complicated with traffic and noise and the rush and the sort of craziness of urban city life these days. So this is what we have to offer, and people really seem to like it, especially during the last year with the pandemic and all of the problems associated with that.
Well, I'm hearing that from around the state. People are wanting to get out of the bigger cities. But so how are people, I mean, hopefully people are going to find out more about your area with this interview, but how are people finding out? Are they just doing a Google search and saying, you know, off the beaten path, New Mexico or something?
You know, gosh, most of the people I deal with that come through, of course, are looking for real estate. They're either looking for raw land for sale, of which we have a lot, or they're looking for, you know, some land with some space around them, acreage with a house or some kind of other dwelling on it. But most of the people find us, I would say, through the internet these days. And they, like yourself, many of them have never heard of Rodeo, New Mexico. They don't know exactly where it is, but they become interested in it by seeing the photographs of the beautiful desert and mountains that we have here.
And you're saying you have lots of available land. So what is the going rate for, you know, just acreage, not with a house on it? What would something cost, you know, an approximation?
Sure. Of course, it all depends on the three keywords: location, location, location. But it also depends on what's on the land. For example, if there's some, you know, really interesting desert shrubbery, that may, you know, the seller may ask a little bit more. But just for your plain Jane raw land in the area, which is actually anywhere in the valley here, we have gorgeous scenery of, you know, full mountain range scenery. And the going rate is typically it varies anywhere from about $1,000 per acre to, you know, several thousand an acre.
And are they selling tracts of land like 10 acres at a, you know, 10 acres a piece, or 5 acres, or just 40,000 acres? What's available?
We have pretty much everything. There have been some farms that have recently sold. That one was 470 acres. But most of the properties that are for sale currently are in the range of 10 to, you know, 160 acres, let's say.
And those would average about $1,000 an acre, more or less?
That's correct, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good. And then, but this is always the big question: what about water? Or is there water on that land?
Yeah, we're fortunate in that we are located in what's called the San Simon Valley. And we are in the drainage of the Chiricahua Mountains to the west and the Palancillo Mountains to the east. And so historically, this valley has been very fortunate to have a reliable groundwater supply. We don't have any surface water to speak of. There is Cave Creek Canyon in the local mountains, and that creek runs, you know, periodically throughout the year, mostly in the summer and spring. When we have the monsoon rains in the summer, of course, it's running heavily typically. But in the spring, we see the spring runoff, and of course, we just had some great snowfall, so we'll see some water in Cave Creek Canyon.
And so all this acreage that people might be buying, they are definitely going to have to put a well on the property.
Yes, that's correct.
But do they have to go that deep? It doesn't sound like it. There's all that water surrounding water sources.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can get to water usually about 125 feet or so, but
that's not
generally
bad.
I know, but generally you want to go quite a bit deeper than that, at least 100 feet deeper. And that's in the bottom of the valley. If you're up on the slopes, more toward either mountain range, again, the Palancillos to the east or the Chiricahuas to the west. If you're up on the slope a little bit, a few hundred feet, overlooking the valley, then you may have to go a little deeper, maybe 350 or even 450 feet.
And then the little town of Rodeo, does it have a municipal water source? Is there like water there?
Good question. We do. We have our own town water supply that supplies about 50 water hookups in town.
And do you actually live in the little town or do you live out in the country?
We live in town, my wife and I, although we do own some property a few miles outside of town as well.
And so does the little town, are there like blocks of, like suburban blocks? Are there houses? Are there communities or neighborhoods? Or what would it look like if this little town, if somebody wanted to live, somebody maybe finds this attractive, but they're just not, for maybe they're older or for whatever reason, they don't want to be that, they're not really the outdoorsy type, or they wanted to live closer to town. What's available in the little community?
Right now, not a whole lot, Anna. A lot of the stuff that was on the market for a long time has sold. And again, I think it's because over the last year, there's been, so many issues throughout the country that people have wanted to, move out of the city centers. And somehow they have discovered rodeo in New Mexico. And so a lot of the stuff that was on the market, some of it for up to 10 years, sold in the last 6 months. So there's not a whole lot in terms of dwellings available. That said, there's always turnover. And so every now and then, every month or two, there's something that comes onto the market. So there are some homes for sale currently still in the area.
And what would something like that cost?
The prices vary widely depending on the condition of the home, where it's located, and the type of house and so forth. Anywhere from the low end is generally around $50,000. The high end might be, several $100,000, maybe $400,000 on the high end.
Wow, so it is expensive. It could be expensive then.
It could be, but you get a lot more for your money here than you would, let's say, in a place like San Diego. Maybe.
Or how about Santa Fe? Santa Fe's my hometown. Forget it.
Yeah, forget it. Yeah. 400,000 there will get you a nice condo probably. I'm not sure. I haven't shot Santa Fe.
Maybe. You're more looking at like 575 for a nice condo in Santa Fe right now.
So here you can get a nice standalone home for a couple hundred, 300, 400,000, less than $400,000, sitting on 40 acres with your own well, your own septic system, with absolutely gorgeous views of the mountain ranges.
And what type of art?
Great sunrises, great sunsets, tons of wildlife. The other big attraction besides birding is astronomy. We have a lot of professional as well as amateur astronomers that have moved into the area many years ago, and they're still coming here to have access to very dark night skies, because as I said, the closest major urban center is Tucson, Arizona, and that's 175 miles away. So we get almost zero light pollution, and the astronomers, of course, are very interested in that, and they really do love this area, and they set up very expensive telescope installations. We have a number of them in the area.
So that's another attraction. And then my question is, just getting back to the housing, is the type of architecture, like the houses that exist there now, are they old adobes or are they tract homes, or what type of existing architecture is there in the community of Rodeo?
We have the whole run that you just mentioned. We have old adobe homes. We have new, wood frame construction homes. We have what is it called? The old slump stone from Mexico. It's kind of a hard, large brick, about 10 inches, 10 by 10 by maybe 15 or 18 inches long. And so we have some of that very old construction still in the area. We have some hay bale homes. A lot of people are going green because electric grid power is not run to many parts of the area out here where land is available for sale. So they look at the arithmetic, and it's pretty clear that it would pay off to just go ahead and invest in solar right out of the gate. And
So
so
that's
there's a lot
another
of people that live off grid.
Okay. In terms of if somebody's watching this video and they're, they're younger and they might have children, is there a school system out there?
Yeah, there is. The local high school, let's see, grade school, high school is in Animas, which is about 20 miles from us. And there's a bus system that runs through there every day. And that's pretty much it for high school and, grade school through high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your internet seems pretty good because here we are, and you have good internet for people that work remotely.
Yeah, we have high-speed internet running out to all the rural properties in the area, which is amazing. This was done many years ago by government grants for rural internet connections.
Okay.
That's been improving. We have a new cell tower in the area as well. And so we have pretty good communications at this point.
Good.
And I work remotely from my home office here in New Mexico, in Rodeo. And I, work with people all around the world. So, and I meet with them on Zoom all the time.
And I'm assuming that since you're so close to Tucson, it's much warmer in Rodeo than it is here and up here in the northern part of the state in Santa Fe.
Yes, indeed. That's another thing that we have to offer is really mild weather compared to, many parts of the northern part of New Mexico. In fact, it's downright fantastic weather here.
Although you did just mention it snowed a couple of days ago.
But the difference is the snow is, in the valley here, we had maybe 3 inches on the ground. It's all gone now. It's 2 days.
Exactly, right.
Now the mountain ranges are still beautiful and white in the high country. We see that from our home. We look out the window and see this gorgeous view. Now, the differences between northern New Mexico and southern in terms of weather is pretty large. We'll get a blizzard that will come through. It'll last a day or 2 days. That's it. And then it'll be, 2 days down the road, it'll be 65 degrees for the next week. So the winter, and we have, sunshine almost every day. I love the sun, sunny weather. And so I kind of keep track of it. And it is really amazing how much, rarely a day goes by in a year where there's no sun to be seen. We'll get 1 or 2 stretches of a few days long where it's kind of cloudy and, shut in, but that's very rare. So we have sunny weather just about every day.
I think it's safe to say throughout New Mexico that we have probably 330 sunny days a year.
Yeah.
It's safe to say. Well, I told you this was going to go fast. Our time is up. Is there anything you want to leave with this in this interview about Rodeo or about Hidalgo County itself in terms of people that might be considering a move to your area?
Yeah, I would say come and check it out. There are places to stay here. There's the Mountain Valley Lodge and RV park in town, right in the middle of Rodeo. They always have accommodations available. There's the Portal Peak Lodge. There are a number of Airbnb locations right in the area here. You can bring your RV or you can just plan on staying at one of the local overnight places. Oh, so yeah, come and visit us and we'd love to see you and, learn about what you're looking for.
Oh, great. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'll be sure to put all of your contact details along with this interview so people can, hopefully they'll definitely ring you up and you can educate them all about sounds beautiful.
It is beautiful. And we all love it here.
Well, thanks again.
Okay, Anna, thank you.